Good morning. Today is April 23rd, Tuesday, and you've joined the Kubeflow community call. This call is being recorded and is covered under the Kubeflow Code of Conduct. We have an agenda today that we'd like to provide updates to everyone in the community. And obviously, this is an open call for folks to come and join, and we welcome new members. So we have typically a format here where we start with the release update, and I will hand it off to Ricardo to give us an update.
Yes, sure. Okay, so 1.9. Yesterday we officially declared our feature freeze has over, and all the features we planned for 1.9 are no left behind. So we are fully accomplished everything we committed to 1.9 release. So for this week, we'll start the manifesting phase, where you get all the manifests from the components and move to the central repo and start cutting the RC0 release. For now, what we need is for all the working group leaders to help us with cutting their releases for their components and let us know so we can start the manifesting for your components. And we'll try to stick to the original date of next Monday, April 29th, to get the RC0 release. There are plans to bump for another week if needed for any working group that needs more time to get their own releases. But I believe we're on track, which is great. And we'll keep working on all of the painting items to get the first RC0 release for 1.9. About documentation and blog, Stefano, if possible, I'd like to hand over to you. Okay, maybe Stefano is not here. So what I have for the documentation, we started a tracking issue for all the documentation across working groups. We had some tracking issues for pipelines, cat-tip, training operator. I believe there is also for model registry. We're still looking for other working groups if there's a need for a tracking issue for the documents as well. But so far, we are already tracking all the work that must be done in the general documentation. And we'll keep working till we get the final release, which is part of the original schedule for 1.9. About the blog, I'll start syncing with Stefano to start writing a blog post for 1.9 release. At this point, I'd like to ask you, Josh, and others in the community, do we need to do any meet posts about the 1.9 progress, or only the one officially releasing the 1.9 is enough?
Ricardo, I think if you can give me just some little teaser blurbs to put out on social media like LinkedIn and X, just to sort of hint to some of the bigger changes, we can do that leading up to the blog post and make people sort of keep an eye out for the blog post and for the recording. So if you could just give me some snippets, that would be great.
Okay, not a problem. Let me first sync up with Stefano, and then we can send you a snippet of what we could already announce across our social media.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
it would be great if like the working groups typically create a list of the updates in each of the working groups, but perhaps we could think about trying to get, I don't know if we want to have a consolidated list of breaking changes, but if there are breaking changes that we can highlight, especially somewhere that makes it easy for people to understand what is going to happen when they install 1.9, that might be good.
Yeah, sure. I'll make sure to have that noted in our first interaction with across the social media.
All right. Well, this is just fantastic progress. This is an enormous release, especially with, and I guess I'm going to ask two questions, model registry and the Spark operator. How are they being included?
That's a good question, Josh. For now, we are looking at releasing Model S3 as 0.2 alpha, as we expected, since the initial planning for adding Model S3 to the Kubeflow distribution. For Spark Operator, we got the news of the repo transition too late for having any effort to bring into the Kubeflow 1.9 distribution, but we committed to at least publish a blog post to talk about the Spark Operator addition to the Kubeflow, and then we'll try to share more details on feature releases on how Spark Operator will be part of the official Kubeflow distribution.
So the Spark operator will not be included by default.
No, not for 1.9.
Okay. That's great. Okay. Awesome. All right. So any questions from folks? What do you feel like is the most important thing to happen in the next week? Like, what are you looking for? The working groups to, or the distributions to? Is there any, big ask?
Yeah, what the big thing we need for this week and probably next week is to have all the working groups to get the releases and notify the manifest leaders so we can start syncing manifests. Also, we need, as we're preparing to reach the distribution testing, we'll still have some official distributions not included in the table, like Hugo and one other. We'll be working on adding those two new distributions to the website, to the documentation. But also we need a final decision on the remaining distributions, if they are going to participate or not in 1.9. So we'll try to reach out again to the distributions who did not answer yet for that. And otherwise, we'll consider they will be out of the distribution testing. All I can say is that we have a lot of distributions. The majority of the distributions agreed to participate on the distribution testing. So it's great. We have good traction on distributions to work on the distribution testing phase. I think Julius has a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to add regarding the model registry and Spark operator. You'll definitely synchronize the manifest and check them and so on, but probably we can only enable them by default after security scan regarding CVEs, pod security standards, and so on. So we will make them available, but I'm not yet sure whether they will be directly out of the box enabled in the example installation.
Okay.
Just to not get your hopes up too high. Hopefully we can do so. Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure.
Matteo.
Yeah, so Julius, thank you for this clarification. So just to understand correctly, the manifests are sort of like synchronized to the Kubeflow/manifest repository. It's simply that some additional scanning will be performed on the container image, and that will be determined if that it's included by default or not in the installation. But let's say in the worst case scenario, for the 1.9, there will be a line in a README file that says here is the manifest for model registry from Kubeflow/manifest, and let's say people can opt in that case by sort of like actualizing on those manifests. Is my understanding correct?
Yeah, in the end, they could opt in by just uncommenting one line in the example YAML file, but there are multiple things. Maybe there are CVEs, there are network policies, there are pod security standards. So these three things, and how do they integrate with the RBAC and multi-tenancy part of Kubeflow? I know ML metadata multi-tenancy is for the next phase, that's fine. But yeah, some things we need to check first, probably after the RC0 is cut. We can take a look at that.
Understandable. Thank you so much.
All right, I see Stefano is here. Anything from product management side on 1.9? No, he's still muted. Okay. We can come back to that. I think this is a good 1.9 update. I think tremendous job. Just to remind people, we're April 23rd, so almost the beginning of May. So we got May, June to finish this release, because really early July with the vacation and everything, we really need to get everything kind of tightened up in the next 8 weeks to 9 weeks or so. And sounds like a lot of time, but when you talk about documentation, finishing testing, going through 2 or 3 RC cycles, we really need to kind of finish that up. So great job, way to identify next steps. Any questions on 1.9? Okay. I'm going to move on to content promotion. Was this you, Amber?
Yeah. So we're looking at every week publishing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So there's something that you, the working groups, anyone needs to be put on social media. What I'll do is I'll send out a form. I don't know where else we need to put it, but I'll figure that out with you and others, Josh. But in the meantime, till we get that workflow worked out, if there's something you want shared, just ping me on IRC. I'll promote it and get it out. So if there's something people want out this week, please let me know so I can start sharing it.
And how fully formed do topics need to be, or could it just be, hey, I've got this real important PR and it addresses this topic and you want comments on, or what are you looking for, Amber?
I just need a link and like what the call to action is. And if I have follow-up questions, I can ask, but as long as I have a link and what the call to action, if it's awareness, if it's like, we need people to do something, we need more volunteers, or we need more comments, like whatever the call to action might be, just say we need this topic posted with the link, and then what your call to action is. And if you want specific wording, send that, but it's not necessary.
All righty. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Anything else on content promotion?
Not from me.
All right. Fantastic. And so we have LinkedIn, Twitter. What else? What else do we have? Do you have access to? Do we have access to we can post into?
That's it for now, other than Kubeflow Discuss. So the basic areas that I look at to put new content on would be LinkedIn, Twitter, Slack general, because I don't think I have Slack access, and then Kubeflow Discuss if it's not already on Kubeflow Discuss.
Fantastic. Well, we're making progress there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what about YouTube?
I don't have access I don't think I have access to that. I'll look. But if there's, I would like to start promoting more videos, because people really don't like to read, but they can watch, you know, a 3-minute or less video and get stuff out. So we do have a person, Josh, I don't know if you remember Ben from Ericto, but he's wanting to volunteer some of his time and skills to help us with some of our video content. So if anybody's got ideas for like just little snippets, not like hour-long how-tos, we can certainly do some of that. But if you've got ideas for like video, like just short to the point videos, we do have a volunteer willing to help us with that.
Mateo.
Yeah, Amber, just also something worthy to be noted for YouTube is like if you have a post, so typical, what I see is that a typical like LinkedIn post is typically you may have like a thumbnail things, like an image and then some text. The YouTube community part, so where you make the post in YouTube as well,
Right.
I find it is very helpful. So let's say because it generates sort of like affiliation from the subscriber of the YouTube channel, because they see, or at least it works very well for me. Let's say when I open YouTube on my mobile, often I get posts by sort of like the YouTuber I follow the most, especially if sort of like I like even just the community post, which is just text and an image, and typically those have a link to a YouTube video. So in that case, I think it's a very good way for sort of like attracting, especially for maybe folks on the younger side of the spectrum, to this kind of content. Just an idea there.
Oh, that's a great idea. Thank you. I will definitely look into that. And Josh, I'll let you know if I need access to YouTube. I haven't tried in the last 2 weeks, but I'll try again.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to ask about the security team only because I think it's critical that we keep focused on security. Is there anything from the security team that they need to ask the community? Is there like a next?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll be posting some information in the Slack channel, probably this afternoon. If you're one of the working group leads or you're very active in the working groups, please take a look at this. I'll also send out a note on Kubeflow Discuss. We just need, the tag has, the security tag has a few questions for each of the working groups. So we'll need that answered, but we're very close to doing the official review by the CNCF talk. So that's a good thing. We'll also be publishing how to report vulnerabilities. So there's that ask, keep an eye out on that. We'll be sending that on Kubeflow Discuss and updating our directory this week, so everyone knows how to do that. And then I believe Julius is working with some of the Google Summer of Code folks on some key items that we need on the security front. Julius, you can speak more to that. And we're going to be establishing kind of like a long-running lists of things we need to work on, not necessarily related solely to 1.9, but just solely related to the overall security of the project. So we're moving right along, and we should have our processes and everything approved by the talk like in the next 6 to 8 weeks, but definitely before KubeCon in Salt Lake this fall. And then they're also going to be helping us with some of the scanning and conformance and that sort of stuff as it relates to security as well. So we're on track as far as the CNCF goes. Julius, do you want to speak more about the specifics of what we're looking at for the Kubeflow release itself?
Yeah, one amazing change is probably that the network policies are now in by default, which also means that the Kubeflow control plane is secured. The next step, maybe for Kubeflow 1.10, could be securing the user namespaces as well. And the second thing is that regarding Google Summer of Code, I did a lot of interviews. Hopefully we will get enough slots to have students work on rootless Kubeflow. Probably also automatic trivia image scanning, stuff like this. So yeah, there's some stuff going on.
Let me capture the network default policies. So did I capture that right? The control plane is now secure by default?
Yes, but the user namespaces can still communicate with each other. So this might be the next step. By default, blocking everything, by default, blocking inter-user namespace communication. And they can later on, of course, enable it back again with their own policies on top. They are additive. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for your leadership there. That's super important. Okay. And what about the CVE scanning? Are we gonna do CVE scan on this release for 1.9, or each of the working groups supposed to be doing that?
I fixed the script for the images, so they should be, most of the images should be detected properly, but we don't have an automated scanning with trivia on top. Hopefully one of our GSOC students can do so. And I'm not sure, maybe the working group leads can tell about their individual efforts.
Okay. Great. All right, fantastic. Let's do we have anything more on security? All right, let's keep going.
Only one thing, the CNCF tag is using Kubeflow. Our process of onboarding is where to document this and all the processes and things that they're seeing. They're actually using this, what we've been working on together, as a pitch for some talks, both at AI conferences and probably KubeCon, which is in the fall in Salt Lake City. So we need the CFP for KubeCon is open right now. So if you've got topics related to especially security or other topics related to Kubeflow is going to be a big another big topic in Salt Lake. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I have another comment about that. So there's also AI dev events planned for Seattle, and I think there's one in Japan, and I think there's a KubeCon in China too, in Hong Kong, and I think the CFPs are open for those. So-
Yeah, the tag submitted one for the Seattle. There's a Kubeflow security talk that the CNCF security group submitted for the Seattle one. I didn't know about the Japan one. Let me look up that, or if you have that information for the CFP, can you either drop it in the notes or whatever? If not, Josh, I'll find it and put it in the notes.
Yeah, I can forward it to you basically. So
Thank
so there's a lot of events. I think the one you're talking about is Cloud Native Security Con, but there's another event called AI Dev. It's just a little bit more focused on data science and machine learning. But I work in the Cloud Native AI working group. So one of the things we're trying to do is bridge the gaps between data science and machine learning and infrastructure and DevOps. And I think it'd be great to have some of the Kubeflow stuff there too.
Totally agree. Thank you for bringing that up to us.
For sure.
All right, well, a lot of stuff for not having anything on it when we first started the conversation. Making great progress. All right. Anything else before we move on to Spark Operator? Andre, do you have the Spark Operator, or somebody else got this one?
Yeah, let's quickly have a chat, everyone. So first of all, we want to publish blog post relatively soon. I just want to know from the community perspective, how much time do we want to wait until publish it and announce it? I know Vara on this call, maybe Vara, you have your own perspective on this, and maybe you can share something to the community or
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the PR to be merged and publish that as soon as possible. I just want to see if you have any other comments on the blog, and if not, we're good to publish.
All right.
And yeah,
So my only comment on the blog was, I thought it was well written, and I liked a lot of, I liked it all. There was some kind of view about, you know, our commitment to the project, and I'm all keen with that, but how does what is the long-term plan for the Spark operator if the second operator gets created by the CNCF, if I remember right?
No, it's by Apache. So I can share about this. I think we discussed this several times before.
Yeah.
So yes, there is an effort from I think some folks from Apple to create another Java-based Spark operator, which is right now part of the Apache GitHub. So the thing is, like, we've been discussing this during the migration to this Google Spark operator to the Kubeflow one. So the main goal of this to support existing customers who are using Spark operator, which is the Google-based one, because there is as we can see right now, from the community perspective, this is one of the most largest operator, and people, so many customers across the world using it, and we cannot just ask them to migrate to a new one. So migration might take up to 2 to 3 to 5 years, and maybe some of the customers will never migrate, right? So we still need to find the home for people who use the existing Spark operator to manage their Spark workloads. And it is why we have to maintain it for a while. And after if for some time we realize that all the existing users that want to migrate, I guess like and maybe Wari, you can speak from this, but I guess you will help folks to migrate to the Apache Spark operator, right? But we don't know yet, unless
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, sure. So, I mean, just on the context, and Apache Spark operator is not ready yet, and they're working on it still, and probably take a year or more to get mature. And we have hundreds of users and the customers who are already using Spark operator today, and they're already excited when we moved into Kubeflow and they started to throw the PRs, and we are seeing an influx of PRs coming through, and myself and Andre and a few others are just and Sharon trying to review the PRs and push the PRs. And I can see the community is coming together again after moving to Kubeflow, which is good. And I think this will continue. And I started to see a lot of performance improvements and security improvements as well. I wouldn't really worry at the moment of the Apache Spark operator, but if this goes on the pace that the community is driving through, probably this will continue along with what Apache Spark operator, with which they are planning to. I mean, in terms of the migration in future, maybe a year or a couple of years down the line, if any of the customers want to migrate to, probably they'll evaluate why they want to migrate and what are the features that other Spark operator provides, but not this one. Otherwise, they will continue to use what they have.
Yeah, and it's always hitting a moving target. If we add more into a mature Spark operator, then the Apache has more and more to catch up to. The thing that I just want to make sure that we set the proper expectation is that if we get to a point where we want to put it into a sustaining mode, or we're starting to scale back on it, that we haven't overshot people's expectations by saying, we're going to support this. Like, if we are, fine. I just want to make sure that if we have to back away, that we don't have things in writing that are too optimistic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if there is any wording that you think we could slightly make it different, and we happy to change that. But for now, I feel like we have bigger hands on the deck in terms of the community coming together, so we don't have to worry about maintaining that in a longer term. That's what I feel.
I think that's great. Is there another release? Is there a release schedule for the Spark operator?
There's a community call that the Andre started. The plan is to set up a first community call, bring together all the community existing community members and discuss the release schedule. But for now, we have an issue that we are working with, which is related to the Docker Hub credentials within the repo. We're trying to reach out to Kubeflow team, and they can provide the update. Once that is solved, we are good to go with first release of Kubeflow, and then which is only this first release includes only those bug fixes and other documentation changes and so on. But the actual enhancements and performance improvements, that's the one we are thinking of really, start working with the release 2 and onwards.
Okay, great, fantastic. This is great work.
Yeah, so I just want to ask a few things about the Docker Hub. So do we have James on the call right now? No, I don't think he's on the call. Okay, so we just need to reach out to James to see like why Docker Hub credential don't work. Like we tried to publish images on the Docker Hub, but just we saw some errors there. So let's see if we can finalize it. And we have an open issue to improve the release process as well, right? So I think if everyone in the community could help us to work on this, that would be nice. I can link this to the community notes, but we just basically want to have a stable releases of Spark operator with release branches and tags, like similar to what you see in Kubernetes or other Kubeflow components like pipelines, training operator, right? So I think it will be much easier for folks to use the stable releases of Spark operator moving forward. So I can link the issue here, and maybe if you want to work on, let me know. Yeah, just maybe the last thing that I want to say about Spark Operator, like we're still trying to collect time from folks who want to attend the meeting call. So if you're interested, please let us know about the preferable time and we will schedule the call very soon. We're on who want to attend.
Perfect. Okay. All right, we have an item here about Feast.
Hey folks, I'm Francisco. I'm one of the maintainers for Feast. I've had a very brief chat with Andre last week, I think, in the Kubeflow training operators meeting. And one of the things I wanted to surface more broadly, I know that Feast is an added-on component. There's some talk internally about us adding support for Kubeflow, and I know that there's existing document about Kubeflow. We want to kind of just generally improve it. There is interest, at least from me as well as the Feast community, on having a much more intuitive K-serve integration, because I think that there's a lot of, I'm sure that for some users of Kubeflow, there are open questions on how to orchestrate feature retrieval and everything else. And so I thought that there was an opportunity to start adding to that. I was planning on drafting an RFC, wanted to kind of mention to folks here to see if there are anybody interested in, either collaborating or reviewing it. And I can make an issue or whatever is the right channel to surface it, but I thought I'd at least start here.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had a long time relationship with the Feast community. There's folks that have done their own integration and support. I don't know how I guess I shouldn't say it that way. We need to figure out where users will start to be vocal about their needs. So you're going to have an issue open that people could look at or something to that effect? Is there some way that we could measure people's interest in a particular item and we could post it and remind them to chime in?
Yeah, so I was planning on, like I said, drafting an RFC because there's Feast processes that that we have, and one of them was about, hey, look, outlining how Kserve can fit nicely with Feast. There's already some documentation on how Kserve suggests it. I'm actually coming from a different perspective, and I thought I would raise it here, and I'm happy to open up an issue once I've drafted something or actually I can start with opening up an issue, tag the draft document and start to solicit feedback there and then share that back with you.
So
I think. Go
Ricardo,
ahead.
go ahead, go first.
Go first, Andrew. It's
Yeah, I just want to say, yeah,
context.
I think it's great, Francisco. So let's definitely have a chat. Like, I think we need someone who can like work on improving this docs on the existing Kubeflow website for Feast as well.
Yeah,
I know
I'm
that,
happy to do that.
yeah, and right now it's listening in the external add-ons. So if you want to integration with KServe there, I think it also would be nice. I don't know from the KServe side, like whether they want to have this on their documentation or on this external add-ons documentation. But it really depends, like what kind of updates you want to give, right? What kind of integrations and what kind
Yeah,
of
exactly. And that's kind of why I wanted to surface it here before I go down that rabbit hole of like outlining who the right people were to kind of connect with on this.
So I'll target that question to both Spark Operator and the Feast teams. We're about to start working on a phase 2 for the Kubeflow user survey, which will be focused on users' need and their demand on adding more features to the Kubeflow releases. I'd like to check with you guys if it's relevant to add any questions in particular to Spark Operator and Feast.
Yeah, I would love it for Feast.
I think it would be nice, Ricardo. I think it would be nice if you can just at least let us know about what kind of like are we like targeting, like are we speaking about how many people using this or that component? Because I believe on the Stefanos survey we have this type of question, like what is the most usable components from the Kubeflow ecosystem, right? I think we need to understand, like on this new survey, are we going to ask about external add-ons as well right now, right? Because yes, Feast is a part of Kubeflow ecosystem, but right now it's listed on external add-ons. So we need to probably think about how we should phrase it to our users, right?
Yeah, maybe we can try generalize a bit and speak about more about features instead of components itself. But yeah, we can start that discussion from there. But if you believe that Spark Operator and Feast could be part of the phase 2 of the user survey, I'll work with Stefano to have those two components covered by the survey.
Sounds good.
Okay, great to have the Feast. And so interesting now, you look at the model registry, Feast, Spark Operator, all these things have been important in all the user surveys when things have come back. I might jump ahead to the user survey if Stefano is here, if he has an update of, is there anything you want to say about the user survey? I saw a summary that we had, almost 20 users provide deep feedback. But I know that survey's been closed. Hopefully we'll get some updates when Italitel makes Stefano's cell phone work. Anyway, I'm joking. Let's move on to the repo split. This sounds like a banana split, repo split. Who put this on here and who wants to talk about it?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay.
So yeah, we're still kind of collecting feedback from many folks in the community. So just to give you like the heads up, we're trying to find the future of Kubeflow GitHub repo and try to better the main motivation behind is to explain our users, developers, what is actually Kubeflow. And so by splitting the repo between multiple subcomponents, I think we will make the first step to make it clear that Kubeflow is not just a platform with many subcomponents, but also can be used as a standalone tool, like tool for training, tool for data prep, tool for serving, right? So there are like long discussions around like different ideas. We're still trying to collect feedback from other folks in the community. What do you think about whether the common components should leap? So speaking about like profile controller, KFM, central dashboard, and we have some ideas here. So we'd love to hear your feedback on this. And the main concern about whether the common component should leap in the manifest repo, should we rename manifest to platform or to central repo, or we should leave manifest and the common components separate, like the multi-tenant components, like a profile controller, central dashboard, KFM, and volumes, right? Not volumes, the pod defaults, right? Yeah, so I think right now it's next step would be to find agreement with the notebooks working group and to understand like where this and also I think it's important we need to find folks in the community who are actually willing to maintain the common components, because historically these components like they were maintained by notebooks working group, but we need to find a more like other working group who can take ownership of these components. Go ahead, Julius. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely volunteer for some parts of it regarding the stuff that is in general used for multi-tenancy. For the notebooks and other things, they should, for the time being, they should stay on Kimona's and Matthew's side. Yeah, but I'm definitely open towards the common components.
Yeah. So by common, you mean like the multi-tenancy, right, components. What about UI, Julius, components, like central dashboard and other pieces of the UI?
I mean, you feel free to add me there as maintainer as well. I'm just not sure how much time I can spend on them. That's the thing.
Yeah. And do we know how many people actually in Manifest Work Europe right now? Is it only you, or we have more people who are active there who can help you to maintain them?
Kimona's is a bit, let's say, out of office. I have some people helping there occasionally, definitely. And I think Matthew is also mostly alone regarding Kubeflow/Kubeflow at the moment. Yeah, that we have to see. But so far there's not that much, I wouldn't say that much interest, but to become maintainer there, you have to have a lot of knowledge regarding the architecture, understand it in detail and so on. It's not just about being able to contribute something, it's being able to reviewing stuff from others.
Yeah. Because I guess like the main point is this component is only useful when Kubeflow used as a platform. That is why my idea was in my personal preference to name this as the Kubeflow platform. Because these components doesn't make sense to maintain this as a standalone application compared to like notebooks or training or like, pipelines, right? That is why I was thinking about to combining them with the manifest, because manifest is also the idea of manifest to deploy Kubeflow as the platform with the aggregation of multiple components. But the question that I have right now, maybe like if you have anyone from the distribution perspective here on the call, if the manifest repo will have some codes there, do you have any concerns with this? Because like Matthew raised the problem, like basically commented that for some distributions might be problematic to create distributions on top of the repo which has some code in it, like profile controller or central dashboard. So do we have anyone here on the call right now who can speak up from the distribution standpoint?
I think it's just hard to answer right now.
Yeah, no. In other words, we have to find out if people are using it directly. People are using Kubeflow manifest directly by doing a clone or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not about using manifest directly. It's about using only the KFAM component, for example, or the central dashboard component on its own without the other stuff.
No, I think my question more about synchronization, right? Because I think like it was a comment around the synchronization with upstream manifest. And I'm just like wondering from the distribution maintenance perspective, like when you fork the repo of manifest, if the manifest repo will have some code components there, like the profile controller, will it actually give you additional problems with the synchronization, right? Or it doesn't really matter from a distribution perspective? So I think this is the concern that Matthew raised here on the comments.
I mean, sorry, distribution first, otherwise I have something to say as well.
Yeah. So Jonah, from your side, I guess like you didn't fork the repo, right? You didn't fork like the manifest.
No. We are good.
Yeah, so maybe like as a follow-up, like some of the distributions who can like take a look on this and using the manifest repo can let us know, and then we can make a decision, right? Because like we want to like have less repos for users to create an issues to make it easier for to triage them, right? But at the same time, we don't want to make something which just make it possible for distributions to maintain their Kubeflow platform, right? So we want to make it easier for them to deploy Kubeflow, right? So, but anyway, let's wait until more members in the community will comment.
Yeah, even if you go towards Matthew's route, and I'm a bit more on your side in this case, but even if you go towards Matthew's route, I still propose that we should have at least more maintainers in this Kubeflow / I don't know, multi-tenancy or however it's going to be called, if it's not in a manifest / platform stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Okay, repo split. How's that? When does that get resolved?
I think initially we need to, from my perspective, create a repo for notebooks and migrate notebooks to their repo. So, and then we can migrate other stuff. So from my point of view, we should do this relatively soon, and we should do it as fast as we can to finally explain to people, like to actually give it like all of the energy around Spark Operator, around model registry, around other projects, right? To explain like the ecosystem of Kubeflow components, we should like invest our time to make it as fast as we can.
I
Maybe
guess
like,
what I'm saying is, can we put a target, a pin, sometime in May? I mean, it's a week so away, but does May sound like the time that we should try to get this decision done on this so it doesn't linger?
for me, end of May makes sense, but it really depends on notebooks working up availability to make the notebook stable, right? Like I cannot commit.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just trying to feel a temperature. We got two hands up. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Ricardo was first.
Yeah, I think one important thing to figure out with the repo split is that how it impacts the 1.9 release and what we can do to mitigate that risks for releasing 1.9 with that repo split. Maybe we can start separating the issue, but at the same way, we can keep the copy of the notebooks code into Kubeflow/Kubeflow. I don't know. Anyways, I think we need to figure out a way to mitigate the risks with the 1.9 release with that repo split.
So Ricardo, when is the release date again? Can you remind me? Like if we're going to cut if we start distribution testing this week, when is the?
So yeah, our plan is to have a RC0 for next Monday, April 29th. Then there will be May and June to start working with the documentation updates, distribution testing, if needed, some other RC releases, and then we'll finally reach the final release on July 8th.
Okay.
I think adjusting the synchronization script should be easily doable within 2 months, May and June. Yeah.
Yes, I think yes. So sorry for interrupting. I think Julius, so what would be nice if you can just Sorry if you already commented, but if you're willing to maintain these components, would be nice if you can let us know on the issue, so we can also try to find folks who actually can be listed as the owners of these components, right? So and in terms of releases, I don't think we should block the release, and so we should make it like async completely, right?
There's also a second part to it. I did a few GSOC interviews, and we also have a GSOC proposal regarding dealing with all this Kubeflow/Kubeflow issues and stuff and so on. So maybe we will have a student who can also help regarding that migration. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I think that would be great. It's a great idea, I think. Maybe they can help us to transfer them, right? So let's see.
Okay, let's keep going. Kubeflow architecture diagram, or the gift that keeps on giving. How we doing? Do we need to look at this? What are we doing?
Yeah, we we finally done it, right, Josh? I mean, I think this issue was open from June last year. So unfortunately, we haven't got a chance to update the rest of this page yet. But at least like we updated the architecture diagram, at least like the first version.
So this is it right here. Is that right?
Yes, I think so. So I think the next step would be for us to update this page, because this page still has some outdated information. But I think it's great, and I just want to say huge thank you to Vikas and other folks who are reviewing this, like Matthew, James, you, Josh, as well, to participate in this PR, because it's been open for almost a year. So it's great to see the progress there.
So would have been good to do the Kubeflow user survey and have people tell us what they think this means. See if we really got the point across. This is Kubeflow is the most complex project I think I've ever worked on. And so a lot of pieces and hard to I think the diagram is good. I love it. Go ahead, Julius. Or is that from before?
Yes, that's one before. I just have to lower my hand. Sorry.
No problem. Model registry. Is there something, I know, Matteo, we had this on this early. Is there anything?
Nothing specifically, just thanks to Julius and Ricardo for the notice about cutting the release, as previously agreed in the bi-weekly meeting and the manifest during the release working group. We will cut the 020 alpha release from the registry so that the manifest can be started for testing, as Julius mentioned it earlier. I just wanted to keep notice on that, and also we received some of the comment that I more lately received on the documentation that we had open for a while. So some new comments I've tried to incorporate as much as the feedback as possible in the current open PR, but this is also speak to the documentation. So this is not necessarily to be done by next Monday. So hopefully good progress also there, and kudos to everybody who contributed feedback. Thank you, it's really much appreciated, and I hope that I did the best service to try to merge and incorporate as many of them as possible in the current PR. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely be good to have the users who have been asking for the model registry to start to think about their use cases. I don't know if we have a test plan or something that, like, new users that install the model registry could say, here's 3 things that you should, getting to know model registry. Maybe the video that we did or some of the other things that we've done, give them kind of like, hey, I get it installed now, I can do this, this, and this. Just something to kind of walk them through getting to know model registry. But just because it is so new and because so many people have asked for it, I'd like to hear that feedback when's the next model registry meeting? Is it this coming
Next
Monday?
Monday. Yeah.
Okay. And when's the next Spark operator meeting, Andre? Do we have a date on that set up, or is
We are
that?
waiting for the survey, right? We have a survey that asked to fill. We got like around, I think, 20 responses.
Mhm.
But once we publish the blog post, I think we will schedule the first call.
Okay. Okay, got it. So the model registry, just back to that, it would be great. Monday, that's what time is that? Is that
Just
10?
after the release meeting.
Yeah, so that's like 10 o'clock Pacific or something, I think.
I'm not sure on the Pacific time, but I can check.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure that we promote it. Okay, we're at time. I'm sorry if I was a little wandery today. Is there anything that we need to talk about before we close out the meeting? I was supposed to get the new bridge set up this week. Over the last few, day, I failed. And I'm not sure how good I'm going to be this week. So we do need to get off of Matthew's Zoom, and if I can rally here, we're going to figure this one out. So be on the lookout. Zoom meeting link could change and all that here at any time. So we'll try to get that news out and working. I appreciate everybody's time. Anything else before we go? Going once? Going twice? All right. Everybody have a great week. Keep having fun. Speak to you all
Thank
later.
you, Josh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.